Episode 2 The Game Perfection. The name of the episode مستنياك. There are 2 bits remaining on the table surface bits from the previous game. مستنياك. The contributors Hanan Alpha, Hanan Screen, Hanan it is medical and pharmaceutical seniority Arti Hanan. Let's start. Hanan Alpha throwing dice. 3 take note. We aren't considered the note or brands very much that time. Just performing the game. Elegant bet at environment square. That's the drug interaction chart. An interaction between 2 drugs is shown by a symbol where vertical and horizontal columns from drugs intersect. I found it inside a book for drug index. The information in this chart is constantly being updated. Pharmacist should familiarize himself with full details of drug interactions. Hanan it is. Throwing dice. 4 with branding note. The meaning of satisfy here is masked, broad lines. H1 increase in inositol triphosphate diacylglycerol. H2 increase cyclic AMP. H3 G protein coupled. Masked and calling, worrying and being sure about your choices. And it is got 1 point for this bet. Our seniority Arti Hanan throwing dice. 6 with tick note. Oh, what a bet. That bet at informal interest about glucagon. The drawing from a magazine for fashion. It is half a watch and the other half is like a cake with chocolate and cream. And he copy Hanani art copy the comment from the magazine ساعتك تتاكل الأكل. His bit glucagon, the hyperglycemic factor that mobilizes glycogen store. Glucagon, one of the products of islets of Langerhans. Subject cardiac effects. Glucagon has a potent inotropic and chronotropic effect on the heart, mediated by cyclic AMP. Mechanism described above. Thus, it produces an effect very similar to that of beta-adrenoceptor agonists without requiring functioning beta receptors. Precious bit from Hanani Art at Informal Interest Square. He got 1 bet for this. 1 point for this bit. Hanan Screen throwing dice. 2 note. Precious bit about procedure. The transcatheter aortic valve replacement per implementation. Abbreviation TAVI procedure is a minimally invasive approach to implant an artificial valve inside a constricted aortic valve. TAVI involves only catheter-based procedure with the help of fluoroscopy to avoid large incisions. The subject Gulf's News heart valve replacement. At Sultan Qaboos University Hospital, doctors have successfully carried out an advanced procedure for aortic valve replacement on 4 patients aged over 75, according to a press release. Presence from Hanan screen at Explore Square. Hanan Alpha throwing dice 2 with the behavioral at the position square. The position pharmacist, that's the pharmacologist chart, many places for analysis and the conduction triangle and the analysis direction. Active position. 1 point for this bit at position square from Hanan Alpha. Hanan it is throwing dice. Oh, again. 2 and again the tour. Congratulations. To gain all the previous bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the previous 2 from the previous game was on the table. That's 7 bits. Congratulations. And her bit here at arts informal interest, and it also fit at arts relation. Novel drug القدرة الوجود الفعالية. In English Sword and Armor Volume 1 القدرة والوجود والفعالية. حين تحتار بطلة القصة الزوجة الجميلة البسيطة مع تطور حياتها ترشدها الحورية ب3 كلمات أصبحن مفتاح سكينتها واستمرار حياتها بدون ألم. On the other side, the subject pharmacology of opiate analgesics. 3 principal precursor protein. Opiates. The smallest peptides possessing direct opioid activity are 2 pentapeptides, methionine, enkephaline, and leucine enkephaline. With the exception of methionine and leucine terminal group, the amino acid sequence of the enkephalines are identical: tyrosine, glycine, phenylalanine. One or both of these 2 peptides are contained in 3 principal precursor proteins having 257 and 265 amino acids with different repetitive peptide sequences. Precious bit at informal interest from Hananites. 1 point for this bit. Our seniority RT Hanan throwing dice. 1 at reflection square. It's a rare square. Now we have a reflection bit. Warfarin works as anticoagulant by inhibiting vitamin K epoxidase in the liver. This action of warfarin occurs rapidly, and inhibition of the enzyme is probably related to plasma concentrations of warfarin. The half-life that determine how long it takes for the concentration of clotting factors to reach a new steady state and for drug to become manifest, reflecting warfarin plasma concentration. The clinical effect of warfarin, example on prothrombin time, reflects a decrease in the concentration of prothrombin complex of clotting factors. The complex has a long half-life, about 14 hours. One point for that bet for the seniority Hanani art. Our screens from guys. One branding from conference is a branding bit really. It is from conference brochure in Arab Health. How best practice can be transferred across borders and how this will benefit the hospital. The title, The Future of the Hospital. On the other side, in many respects, the region is well placed to explore different models of care and look at alternatives to the services that have been the general hospital at their heart. All over the world, the general hospital looks the same, as it did many years ago. It usually has a facility for emergencies, it has outpatient departments, it has beds for inpatients, operating rooms, and range of diagnostic functions. The hospital is the venue for training doctors, nurses, and other professions. Subject economic case for hospitals in the Middle East. One point for this bit. Hanan Alpha's round dice. 2 oral at reflection square. About histamine, modulating roll and drawing like a remote control. It stopped like a cab of the pharmacist, and repeating modulating roll and the drawing and symbol of pharmacy. On the other side, subject to histamine wards released locally and including the brain, then drawing the brain included in an envelope, and again beside it released locally and including the brain, and the symbol of pharmacy, and again umbrella and the brain including in the umbrella, and again in the umbrella, again released locally and including the brain, and another envelope including the brain. Precious reflection from Hanan Alpha. Hananite throwing dice. 5 with orally. Oral meaning explaining. If you have more, you can explain in many languages, in your language, or just reading brandingly. Reading for audios or students. The bit introducing total radiology. It is the fourth bit. Introducing total radiology. The move away from the name imaging and diagnostics is to align with all areas of radiologic practice, including interventional treatments and nuclear medicine. On the other side, the subject total radiology appraise importance and the new developments in importance of inpatient safety. Total radiology is about addressing all aspects of work in the radiology department and all areas of healthcare where radiological techniques are used. And a beautiful drawing. Precious interest from Hananitis. Seniority Hanani art. Strong dice 4. Behavioral. is using his gain from the previous table, from the previous episode. Fourth, H1 antagonists are widely distributed throughout the body, and except for new agents, terfenadine, loratadine, astemizole, and meclizine enter the CNS readily. On the other side, H2 antagonist action is quite selective, in that the H2 antagonists do not affect H1 receptor mediated action. And screen throwing dice for red. It's at reflection square. Let's select at the reflection square for the table. 3 reflections. H2 antagonist nizatidine has been reported to reduce heart rate and cardiac output in healthy subjects. These observations are consistent with the idea that endogenous histamine has a negligible role in the normal regulation of cardiovascular function. Hanan alpha, small dice. 3 was behavioral. It's at describe square. Autonomic nervous system is concerned primarily with visceral function, cardiac output, blood flow to various organs, digestion, that are necessary for life. Yes, the motor efferent portion of nervous system can be divided into 2 major subdivisions. The autonomic nervous system, ANS, is largely autonomous and independent in that its activities are not under direct conscious control. On the other side, autonomic and somatic divisions, both systems have important afferent sensory inputs that provide sensation and modify motor output through reflex arcs of varying size and complexity. The somatic division is largely non-automatic, and is concerned with consciously controlled functions such as movement, respiration, and posture. Refreshing bit from Hanan Alpha. The subject, autonomic pharmacology. And it is throwing dice. Again. Congratulations. Is moving to mutual square. Transparency of dice makes some confusion, but congratulations once again. She gained all the previous bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and more 8 points. Congratulations. And her entry at mutual square pharmacology plus coloring cards. You can get these cards from Aleph Bookstore at Ramses train station in Egypt for 78 livres Egyptian. Where mutual equal enrichment is possible and the field starts. Arti Hanan. Again, congratulations. A little gain and 6 direction to the cases. Again. His entry at this case. Hanani Art expanding his gains. He gains a bit at the previous game, and the expenditure here he wrote histamine shouldn't be given to asthmatics or to patients with active ulcer disease or gastrointestinal bleeding. Bravo, Hanani Art. Hanani screen throwing dice. One, take note. One Direction, the note at Luxury Square. What a card. It is a very elegant card about Saad Saidali, pharmacist war. She mentioned living the philosophy, one which is the number one company in the world. And the winner is Hanan Alpha 4 bits, Hanan Screen 4 bits, Arti Hanan 5 bits, and Hanan it is 19 bits. Congratulations to the new medical and pharmaceutical seniority. Hanan it is medical and pharmaceutical seniority celebration. Perfect information tools celebration. Hanan it is medical and pharmaceutical seniority. Precious tour and to the next
بيني وبين حبيبي غرام، مشوار بعيد ولا فيه غريب، والليل يقرب والخطوة بيني وبين حبيبي غرام، مشوار بعيد ولا فيه غريب، والليل يقرب والنهار ونلاقيكم حبيبي سلموني علي، نلاقيكم حبيبي سلموني علي، طمنوني الأسمراني عملاقي الغربي، طمنوني الأسمراني عملاقي الغربي، طمنوني أسمراني عملاقي الغربة فيك. وانا ماشي ليالي سواح ولا داري حالي سواح بالفرقة يا غالي سواح اللي جرالي سواح وانا ماشي ليالي سواح ولا داري حالي سواح بالفرقة يا غالي سواح اللي جرالي سواح وانا ماشي ليالي سواح ولا داري حالي سواح بالفرقة يا غالي سواح اللي جرالي سواح وانا ماشي ليالي سواح ولا داري حالي سواح بالفرقة يا غالي سواح اللي جرالي ويقولي له انا دايم شروحتي عايز اعرف بس طريقه منين، ويقولي له انا دايم شروحتي عايز اعرف بس طريقه منين، ونلاقي حبيبي سلموني علي، طمنوني أسمراني عملاقي الغربة فيك. يا عيوني يا عيوني انقرأت في ليلة وتعمل ايه يطلوني يطلوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي يا عيوني يا عيوني ما تسيبوني في ليلة وتعمل ايه يطلوني يطلوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي يا عيوني يا عيوني اتجرالك فين انت وتعمل ايه يطلوني يطلوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي يا عيوني يا عيوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي يطلوني يطلوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي يا عيوني يا عيوني اتجرالك فين انت وتعمل ايه يطلوني يطلوني ما تسيبوني مش ناقص انا حيراتي لا انا عارف ارتاح وانا تايه سواح 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 واتنين وانا دايب شوحتي عايز اعرف بس طريق واتنين وانا دايب شوحتي عايز اعرف بس طريق والليل طمنوني اسمراني عاملة ايه الغربة فينا حبيبي كلموني عني حبيبي كلموني عني طمنوني اسمراني عاملة ايه الغربة طمنوني رسيني عالبلاد نورني وريني سكة الحبايب يا قمر يا رسيني عالبلاد نورني وريني سكة الحبايب يا قمر يا رسيني عالبلاد نورني وريني سكة الحبايب يا قمر يا رسيني عالبلاد نورني وريني سكة الحبايب وصيتك وصية يا شركة عتاير 大的夜。 احكيله عني بيا واللي قسيته بلاديا احكيله عني بيا واللي قسيته بلاديا وسنين وانا دايش وحكي عايز اعرف بس طريقه منين وسنين وانا دايش وحكي عايز اعرف بس طريقه طمنوني ده مرار عاملة ايه في الغربة فيه لا تنعجلي كلموني عني لا تنعجلي كلموني عني طمنوني أخبار طمنوني أخبار طمنوني أسمر